Are you curious about solar energy? Many people are just like you. They like the idea of creating their own energy using solar power.
For some, it's a way to help the environment. For others, they just take great pride in producing their own energy.
That's right. Today, find out what you should do before putting solar panels on your roof.
Then we'll show you how solar ties into the electrical grid to keep the lights on, even when the sun isn't shining.
Plus, it's summertime. We'll show you how some people are lighting up their outdoor living spaces.
And we'll show you how you can still enjoy a hot tub and save as much energy as possible to keep costs in check.
That's next on PowerHouse.
Solar power is gaining interest across the country. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, the average cost of a solar panel has dropped nearly 60% since 2008. This is opening the door for more homeowners to investigate solar as an option. But if you're interested, there are some things you should do first. Right now, there's enough solar power in the United States to power over 10 million homes, and that number is expected to more than double by 2023. Meet Jake Robbie. It's his job to help homeowners find out if their home is a good fit for solar and discuss options a customer should consider. Jake, how popular is solar right now?
Solar is hugely popular. I mean, we're going north, south, east, and west every day of the week. We have 3 different crews that are, roof crews, ground crews, and then somewhere in between doing both, So whether it's residential, whether it's agricultural, whether it's commercial.
So if someone comes to you and say they're interested in getting into solar power, there are some things they need to know first, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, we need to figure out who the electric utility company is. Next thing we need to figure out, Pete, is exactly how many kilowatt hours they use or consume on an annual basis so that we can size the system accordingly. I mean, after all, we're producing kilowatt hours out of these panels, and their sizing matters.
And you come out and you do an assessment again, whether you're going to be up on the roof or on the ground.
Right? Yeah, and from there, we can kind of determine what we have for roof space, ground space, and if it's doable.
What does somebody have to think about in terms of going on a roof?
Well, to start with, safety. My workers have to be safe, so we need the right equipment, with the telehandler and the scissor lift, as well as the safety harnesses and stuff, to protect the workers.
Jake, how about the structure and going up on a roof? Do we have to be concerned about weight of the panels?
Always, Pete. We always have to worry about the weight and what load we're putting onto the dead load of the trusses themselves. I mean, each truss is engineered for a certain amount of dead load and snow load, and generally it's not a problem, but we always have to take a look and make sure that it's doable.
Solar panels, have they changed over the years?
Well, a little bit. I mean, these that we're putting on here are monocrystalline panels. They're perfectly cut cells, if you will. You have monocrystalline, you have polycrystalline. We choose to use the mono just due to the fact that they're the most efficient cells available today. As far as the attachment method, everything up there is aluminum, besides the solar panel, which has tempered glass on it, and it just attaches right directly to the roof itself. The panels will sit up about 5 inches from the base of the roof, and we need that airflow under the panels to keep things cool, because the panels are dark black and they do produce a lot of heat. Aluminum plates have mastic on the bottom of them that'll actually stick to the roof, and then we go back through and we attach them with the neoprene headed screws.
So I put solar panels on my roof. What about my maintenance? Do I need to be concerned about?
Well, really, there's nothing to be concerned with as far as the homeowner maintenance of the panels. I mean, we monitor everything. You can monitor it from your cell phone or your computer. We're monitoring all of our sites on a daily basis, and we'll get emails and whatnot if we have an issue, which is very, very, very rare.
As we look at this, again, need to be concerned about a southern exposure?
Yeah, I mean, south is really what we're looking for, but we don't always have south-facing panels or south-facing pitches of roofs. I mean, a lot of times the roof pitch will run north-south, so that puts us on the east-west. We can do the exact same thing and produce the same amount of electricity or kilowatt hours, but generally we might have to add a few more panels to make up the difference and not be in true south.
So how long will a panel last?
Well, basically, a panel is scheduled to last well over a 25-year warranty period. So, I mean, there are panels out there that are well over 40 years old at this point.
Jake, how about return on investment with solar power?
Certainly. I mean, it is an investment, Pete, and every job's a little bit different in that do we need 12 panels, do we need 30 panels or 40 or whatever the number is, because everything's based on the kilowatt hour. So a panel in and of itself is capable of producing about 450 to 500 kilowatt hours a year. The consumer can spec around $1,000 per panel fully installed. You know, whether it's 12 panels, whether it's 40 panels, the racking cost, the panel cost, the optimizers, the inverter cost. Obviously, the more panels that go up, we still just have one inverter. The bigger the system, the less the cost.
And there's some tax rebates that can
Yeah,
be...
we have some great tax advantages right now, both on the federal and on the state side, and we go through all that with the consumer.
Well, Jake, I would certainly say solar power, it's hot right now. Right?
Yes, it is.
It's neat to see, and thanks for sharing all that information with us. And if you'd like to learn more about solar power and how it works, visit our website at powerhousetv.com.
Did you know solar energy is the most abundant energy source on Earth? Over 173,000 terawatts of energy strike the Earth continuously. That's more than 10,000 times the world's total energy usage. If you've decided to install solar panels on your home, the next step is to make sure that you're properly connected to the grid so that you have power whenever you need it. Meet Nick Smith. It's Nick's job to make sure solar homes are connected safely to the electrical grid. So Nick, why would someone need another source of power if they already have solar?
Well, the sun's not going to shine 24/7, so especially at night, you know, when you have clouds roll through and things of that nature, you're definitely going to need another source of power if you want to keep the lights on.
Well, let's talk a little bit about storage. Can people just use battery storage?
You know, storage has come a long way in the last 5 years, and I think it's got a little ways to go. Right now, it's just not really cost effective here in the Midwest to be able to combine that solar with storage. Some customers do it, but it's not the final answer.
All right. Well, I think the thing we really want to talk about today and stress is why it's important to be properly connected to the grid.
Absolutely. I mean, safety is key for any installation, and you know, you're really turning your facility or your home into a mini generating station. So when you're doing that, you're creating electricity, you're putting it back onto the grid, and we have to make sure everyone's safe, whether it's someone from the utility, the homeowner, or first responder. Safety has to be the #1 concern.
Okay. Well, talk about what we're going to do today and why you need to switch this meter out.
So what will happen next is the meter will get switched out to a bidirectional meter. Currently, the meters that are installed only regulate electricity coming one way.
And once this is done, then any extra energy goes back onto the grid.
That's correct. The sun will obviously shine, the PV system will generate electricity, and that customer will either use that electricity or that electricity will come back into the grid. So that excess electricity will be captured by the bidirectional meter channel. If the customer were to turn on this system without having a bidirectional meter, it would actually register it as consumption. So it's important to have that dual channel meter so the utility knows what excess electricity you put onto the grid, and then they can compensate you correctly for that excess electricity.
So as far as the switch out, what are the steps involved?
It is fairly simple. You know, really it's just a matter of having a meter technician come out, take out the current one, put in the new one, do some validation tests and make sure it's working properly, and away you go.
And then is switching out the meter the final step in the installation process?
There are a couple administrative steps that need to happen, but that is the final physical step that needs to happen for the installation. Once that is done, then the utility will then give the customer their permission to operate information, whether it's a letter or an email. But after that's done, then the customer can hit the switch and turn the system on.
And what's the cost to the customer to have the meter switched out?
So there's no cost to have the meter switched out, but there are costs to the interconnection application process, witness testing, things of that nature. So there are absolutely costs up front for the review essentially of the application and the installation.
And then the customer is all set for solar.
Ultimately, once the meter is exchanged, yeah, they're ready to go.
Thanks a lot, Nick. For more information on how solar power works in conjunction with your power company, contact your local utility. Did you know Vanguard 1 was the first solar-powered satellite launched into orbit? It went into space in 1958 and weighed about 3.5 pounds. It stopped transmitting information in 1964, but it remains in orbit to this day. If you've been watching PowerHouse for a while, you know that we love LED lights. They can save you so much more energy than traditional old incandescent bulbs. And just installing LED lights virtually pays for itself in a matter of months. So, why not install them outside? Meet Aaron Kleppe. He's a lighting manager in the landscape lighting design business. He's been beautifying homes, patios, and landscapes for 13 years. Hey Aaron, I'm just looking at some of these photos of some of the projects you've helped design, and it's remarkable how great they look with lights.
Thank you, Megan. It's certainly my goal to make the customers as happy and pleased as possible.
To add these elements though, it seems like there's a lot of lighting involved. How much energy does that use?
Very little. I use all LED lights. For instance, the project that I'm working on today, there's 36 watts in all of the lighting that I'm about to show you. Only 36 watts.
Wow, that's incredible. In general, why would a customer want to add lighting to their outdoor space?
There's several different reasons. This customer in particular, safety was important to him, security, and he also loves the nighttime beauty.
Why don't you walk us through your process and how you communicate with them and how you figure out how to design and light their home?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. Generally, I meet with the customer at their home or property that they want lit. Find out what's most important to them. At this point, it's important to me that I just listen. I then take that information along with some photos of the property back to the office, put together a design for the actual installation based on the customer's wants, the customer's needs, and then I also put some of my ideas in there as options. What I try to do is be as creative as possible in trying to make this as aesthetically pleasing and as much like a resort atmosphere as possible.
Okay. So once you give them the options, what happens after that?
Then I will come back, meet with the customer again, make sure that we're on the same page. We know exactly what both sides are thinking, and I begin the installation process.
Okay. Sounds like you've had a lot of experience. What's your most challenging job then so far?
I had designed a house in the Lake of the Ozarks for a customer, and he wanted the house lit. I thought it would be really neat to light the dock going out to his boat. So I grabbed all the lights, prepared for it, went down into the water and realized that the water was taller than I was. So I got to wire the entire dock upside down. Spent about 3 hours wiring it, but it did turn out immaculate. You could actually see the fish swimming in the water underneath, and the customer was more than satisfied.
Good. Well, let's talk about the project today. Explain what you're installing and where you are in the process.
The customer really wanted to use this space in the evening, and what a better way than to light it up so that they can actually see out here. This is a undercap light, otherwise known as a hardscape light. I actually have 4 of them in the wall that you're standing next to. Did you see them when you walked up?
Oh, show me where they are.
This is one of them. And you can barely see it. It matches the stone, and it will give you full light, including on the ground.
I imagine it extends their living space too and kind of defines the area.
It definitely does. It's one of the least expensive ways to expand your living space.
Now, how much energy does this use, for example?
This light uses less than 1 watt of electricity.
Wow, I like where this is going. Let's go out in the yard.
Come with me.
Aaron, let's start with this fixture. Tell me about that.
It is a 4-watt path light. It directs light 4 foot approximately in all directions. It will light the path, it will light this beautiful stone and the greenery around it.
Nice. Now I see you've got your wires out. Does that mean you're in that phase of the process?
Yes, I installed this today, so I'll be back at dusk this evening to meet with the customer. We will probably end up moving a couple things around a little bit here and there, and I'll be back tomorrow to bury it.
And tell me about these fixtures here. It looks like these are the same thing, right? Different angles?
They are. These are uplights. They use 2 watts of electricity. I remember installing these when I was using 50-watt bulbs.
No kidding.
And now I'm using 2.
And you know, keep in mind that a 4-watt bulb is the kind that you use in a little nightlight.
Right. This is half of that.
That's amazing. I don't see a transformer anywhere. Do you have that hidden somewhere?
Yep, the transformer is up by the plug-in. It does need to be plugged in. and we size the transformers to the number of fixtures and wattage and VA that we're actually using.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about cost. Is this attainable for everyone?
It is. You know, the prices really vary based on the fixture itself. I could do this for as little as $1,000 or as much as $3,500. It really depends on the specific fixtures that we choose to use.
Okay. There are so many choices available today in lighting. Do you ever get requests for color?
Lately, I've been getting more and more requests for color, actually, especially around holidays, Christmas, 4th of July, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is a large one. I think as time goes by, we're going to see more and more color.
The thing that strikes me with this is imagining this at night.
Yeah, yesterday or last night, this was all dark. Tonight, they're going to walk out and it's the favorite part of my job is seeing their faces when I flip that switch for the first time.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your information and your passion.
Thank you.
If you'd like more information about LED lighting and how it can save you energy and money and brighten your yard, visit our website at PowerHouseTV.com. Did you know color temperature is important when choosing the right LED for your home? The temperature is referring to the color of the light and not the actual temperature. A lower color temperature number on the label of 2700 gives you a warm yellowish light like a traditional light bulb, while a higher number, like 5000, will provide a light similar to natural daylight.
Are you in the market for a hot tub? Many people thinking about buying one are concerned about how much it would cost to operate. Today, we're going to help you choose the most efficient hot tub. Meet Brianna Frink. She knows everything you need to know about hot tubs and more. She's been involved in the family business for more than 10 years. Hi Brianna, why do people come in shopping for a hot tub?
It's a great question. It, really runs the gamut from wanting to spend more time with family, recreational, just kind of hanging out, up to your elite athlete coming in for injuries or even just muscle soreness, hot water therapy, and the jets really, really do their work.
I was impressed as we were talking that the manufacturing of hot tubs, that energy efficiency plays into that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So our brand is very, very good at making sure that these tubs are going to be as energy efficient as possible, all the way from the insulation to the cover to the running of the heater and those kinds of things.
What really uses the most energy here in a hot tub?
It's going to be a couple different things. You have a couple jet pumps, a circulation pump, that kind of thing. Really the heater, you're going to have that constantly running. Most of your energy is going to be allocated to heating the tub, but because of all of that insulation and heat retention, you're just not really going to notice a whole lot of difference.
The hot tub really doesn't have an on-off switch. You don't shut it off.
No, absolutely not. Not at all like a typical bathtub where you would fill it, get in it, drain it, and be done. These hot tubs are there for you whenever you want to get in. You keep it filled. You can winterize it in the winter if you're going to be gone or those kinds of things, but majority of people use them year-round. They're so well insulated and energy efficient, and winter is the greatest time to use them.
Now, I think that's one of the questions I'm sure that you get when someone comes in looking at a hot tub. Gee, how much is this going to cost me to operate?
Realistically, in a climate like ours, in the summer, obviously, it's going to be less expensive to run. You have the heat of outside helping you to heat the hot tub. In the winter, though, it's still going to be very energy efficient. You're probably looking $20 a month and maybe a little bit more than that, just depending upon usage and that kind of thing, but you're not going to notice a whole lot.
No, I was impressed, the energy guide over here, the Energy Star guide coming with that. But again, that's a part of the process with the manufacturing of the hot tub.
Yeah, they really just want you to be able to use your hot tub. What they do is they put a fiber core insulation, it's a newer technology, into it. So you get the best energy efficiency, the best heat retention. If you're getting in a hot tub and it's costing you $30, $50 every single time you get in that hot tub for running the jets and all of that kind of thing, you're just not going to get into it.
Sure. Let's talk insulation. How does that work?
At the manufacturer, they'll build the entire hot tub from start to finish, all your pumps and everything. They take the hot tub and they turn it upside down. make sure everything's where it needs to be in place. And they take a fiber core insulation, similar to what you would spray in your attic or ceiling or those kinds of things. Kind of looks like shredded wool. And they will fill it in a 2-pound density. So it's actually 4 times more dense than your typical hardened spray foam. It's twice as energy efficient. So that just continues to play into the role of how awesome these tubs are and how energy efficient and usable they are.
Energy usage, so you're talking about jet pumps and also a heater.
Sure. So yeah, you're gonna have a couple jet pumps, a circulation pump that's constantly moving that water. And actually that circulation pump helps a little bit with your energy efficiency as well. That circulation is constantly pushing the water through that heater. So you're not having to cool down and then run the water through the heater to heat up this entire pool of water.
Now, there is a little bit of weight with this, so you just can't just put this anywhere, right?
Correct, yes. Typically we'll put them on a concrete slab. That's what the majority of people have. You can put them on a deck, but you just want to make sure that they're reinforced to hold the weight of the hot tub. These things can run anywhere from 1 ton to 3 tons once they're filled, plus you have the weight of anyone who's sitting in it and using it.
Brianna, how about purchasing a hot tub? What are we talking in terms of range of costs?
Sure, so we have a wide range of pricing, anywhere from $3,500 to $14,000. Depends on if you want a 2-person, an 8-person, what you're looking for.
And maintenance, simple too?
Absolutely. So our brand actually has an integrated water care system. All you're having to do is change a cartridge once a month and change another cartridge every 4 months. There's really not a whole lot more than that. They're designed to really be usable. You don't have to do a whole lot other than fill it and enjoy it.
Brianna, a lot of great information you shared. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Definitely.
Pete, we found a lot of ways to enjoy the fresh air outside this week.
We installed some LED lights to help beautify the backyard of a home without using too much energy.
We also saw how to keep your hot tub energy costs in check. The right insulation and heating technology keep the water hot and your wallet happy.
And solar panels are becoming less expensive to install. But before you make the leap to solar, make sure you are as energy efficient as possible, so you only pay for the solar equipment you need.
That's just another way to make your house a powerhouse.